the ritual in the third degree of Freemasonry is, and their teaching. The man in the third degree ritual in Freemasonry he becomes a type of Osiris who descended into the flames of hell and had his sins purged and was reborn in hell. That's Freemasonry.
Well, that's the same thing as you just got through saying.
Yes, absolutely.
God help us.
So it goes back.
So is that where they get?
They've been doing this for centuries.
So is that where the church gets this?
This is where the Freemasonry and literally those many of those pastors or people that's saying this are Freemasons, 33rd degree Freemasons.
And that's quite alarming, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Quite alarming.
That's paganism, full force and behind pulpits.
Yeah, a lot of preachers are Masons. Am I right?
Yes, they are. Yes, and even in the Assembly of God and the Pentecostal ranks now, a lot more than it used to be.
It's very widely spread out across the world.
Yeah, some powerful men,
in some
preachers.
countries overseas, it's the prominent teaching.
I remember years and years ago reading a message by Dr. John R. Rice. You might have heard
I've got a copy of it, yes.
Against Freemasonry, and how that he said it was, first, I didn't know anything about Masonry, but he said, it's of Satan, it's of the devil.
Absolutely. And the average Mason is ignorant. Whenever I was in it, I didn't have a clue. I was just as deceived as I could be. And I look back at it and you wonder, I think God allowed it because he knew when he got me out, I would expose it.
Dr. Rice's contention, if I remember, because it's been 40 years since I read that message, was that anything about biblical Christianity is not secret.
Absolutely not. Jesus said so. He said, I openly, when he was standing before the Sanhedrin, he said, I've been open in your synagogue in what I've said, and I have said nothing in secret.
That's it.
So
and he
there's
said,
no such thing as a Christian secret society.
He said much of Masonry is secret.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, let me interject this, Jim. Also, now, you had to kneel in front of the man that you had to call him worshipful master?
That was his title. And
worshipful master.
Yeah, and but to the average person, when you enter into that realm, there is and actually, literally, you're hoodwinked.
Yeah. You're deceived.
But it goes deeper than that. There's a spiritual side to it too. And for some reason, I always knew there was something wrong with it, but I couldn't put my finger on it. Always did. And it took God many years, and he was very patient with me and very long-suffering. But he would deal with me. And finally, I made the decision to break the death oath that I took, not to look on the outside. And when I did, God instantly showed me what I was in. Just that quick, he showed me. And it's an awesome story, but it would take too long. But when the man opened the little book up in the Christian bookstore, and because I asked him, I said, I'm looking for a word that I've been told is not written down anywhere in the world. And he said, well, and I wouldn't say the word. He said, what is it? He said, he said, what is it? I said, it's the secret word of a master mason. He just reached around and pulled a little book out and flipped it open and laid it right in my face. And it changed everything.
Albert Pike made this comment. He said that those in the lower porticles of Freemasonry believe to know the truth, but they are deceived and are led to believe that, but do not deserve to know the truth. It's only in the upper levels that the reality of Freemasonry is revealed. And he said that the God of Freemasonry is Luciferic in nature. He made the comment, he said, Lucifer is God. He said, and unfortunately, Adonai is God, but Lucifer is the greater of the gods. Yeah. And so these are things that you find in the books that are forbidden for those in the lower degrees, and the majority of Freemasonry are in the first three levels, and they don't go past that. And so they believe that they're worshiping God. But at the very beginning, when they have to come in and they have to knock at the door and they have to say that they are in darkness looking for light, how can a Christian say that if they have Christ within them? And how is it not a religion if they have hymns, they have a worshipful master, they have a holy book, there's a place of reward for them.
Is that thing as big now as it used to be or not?
They're coming back. There's a lot of, and I get the phone calls. They're making a very strong push again because I think it has went down some.
Weakened. It has weakened.
Yeah, but they're coming back, and there's a lot. And I get the phone calls.
I think part of the weakening are books like, for example, Ed Decker, who was a Freemason, was also a Mormon. And he exposed both of those. And by the way, when he was in England, this is going back, oh goodness, probably 10 years ago, when he was in England speaking on Freemasonry, he was poisoned.
Yeah.
And almost died.
I remember that, yeah.
And I noticed this last summer, there was a special on the FLDS about, I forget the gentleman's name that's in prison for polygamy. But anyways, he was one of the guests talking about it. And so it's good to see he's still exposing the error. But things like that, it affected Freemasonry because he exposed the rituals. When we talk about Freemasonry, we talk about the hidden rituals that were imitated from Freemasonry. They were the same things, the handshakes, the tokens, the different...
Joseph Smith was a Freemason.
Right. Now,
what most of our founding fathers in that...
And the reason for that is they believed that it was an anti-Roman Catholic secret society, and they joined it. And I said this a couple of weeks ago on this program. When I began to research, and I made God a promise whenever I found out, what I did and wept before him and repented, I made him a promise. I said, I will learn everything I can learn, and if I ever have the opportunity, I will expose it. And one day I made a call to this program in 2002, in January of 2002. And God opened the door. But the Jesuits in the Roman Catholic Church started Freemasonry, free and accepted Masonry. See, it started out in Solomon's Temple. It started out with Masons that were stonemasons. You had to be a stonemason. It was like a union.
With the union, right.
But then they come along and turn it into F and AM. When you see a sign that says F and AM with a Masonic symbol, it means a free and accepted Mason. You do not have to be a craftsman as far as stonemason or brick mason.
Let me interject. The secrets back then that they were keeping were the secrets of the skills of a real Mason. Now it's a whole different ballgame.
And I'm going to ask you guys to remember where you were at. We got to take a quick break, and we'll be right back after the break.
Email your questions and comments about today's program to onair@jsm.org. Join Francis and Friends on Facebook, facebook.com/Francis Swaggart.
Okay, we're back, ladies and gentlemen, and I interrupted Jim and Jim and Mike as they were discussing something. Do you guys remember where you were?
Well, we were talking about the fact that one of the things was that its roots go straight back to paganism, and it has a strong connection to the Roman Catholic Church. Matter of fact, we said this a week or so ago. The Jesuits started it as an anti-Roman Catholic secret society. That's the way they set it up. And even they had a pope that wrote a bull that any Roman Catholic that became a Freemason was automatically excommunicated. They had to do that in order to get us dumb Protestants to join it. And they cover every base. They know exactly what they're doing. So I believe that our founding fathers joined Freemasonry because they believed that it was an anti-Roman Catholic secret society, and they joined it. And that's why I believe
that's a good point, because that could be possible.
Some of them did resign from Freemasonry before they died.
Yes.
And I think people need to know that.
Yes,
For example, George Washington, my understanding was that he did resign.
He hadn't attended the lodge, I think they said, the last 20 years of his life.
Yeah.
But again, there's a lot of history, there's a lot of American history that's been rewritten that they will not talk about, that people need to know.